there. Today we're going to be drawing some manta rays. The first thing you're going to do is get that paper out and get out your Sharpie marker, or if you feel more comfortable, you can start with a pencil and then go over in Sharpie or a black crayon. We're going to start with one of the rays facing us with that trademark smile that you see when it's flipped over. So I'm going to start here with a U shape. And then going to turn little knobs on the head. Then I'm going to add a nice long line for the fin. And this one's going off the page. And then another curved line going up off the page. And I'm pretending they're connected. So I'm imagining this goes up and off the page. Now I get to add the eyes, which are right there on the side. And little nostrils. It has a cute, adorable little smile. And then we have some lines, kind of like a necklace, all the way around. Now we're going to add the rest of our manta rays swimming across. So this one's facing up and the others are going to be going across. You might want to turn your paper to do this. So I find it easier to draw this way when I'm drawing the fish that are pointed in this direction. So again, I'm going to start with that same shape this time, starting with my U shape. I'm going to turn, U shape and turn. I'm going to add in the fins going out, and I'm going to stop here, fins going out, and stop here because I need to add in the tail. Now the tails are super long, so it's going to even go off the page. There we go. And then for this view, we're going to add in those eyes again. And then just some lines to show where the body is coming out. So there's a line down, and in. There's my first one that's swimming in this direction. And now I'm going to add another one over here. I want to make sure that they are looking like they're swimming as a friendship. So I'm going to make another one right over here. They're going to be swimming together. And this one's going to start with that U shape again. Going to curve around and curve around. I'm going to make the fin go up and out. And then I'm bringing it down and stop right about the middle. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this one's tail is going to be going off in this direction. I could have it behind this guy, but I kind of like the way it's flowing in that direction. I'm going to add my dots for eyes. And I'm going to draw the line down for the body, and then it's going to go in a little bit. Line down for the body, and in a little bit. All right, so my manta rays are done, and that's upside down. That's kind of fun to make one upside down. When we visited them at the aquarium, there were some all different directions, so it's kind of cool to play around with the direction. Now I'm going to add in a kelp forest. Kelp is going to help create movement in the scene. So the first step is to make the stems of the kelp. So when we do that, we're going to start down here or over here. Probably right here's a good place. And I'm going to go up. And stop. And up. Right next to it, making a very thin line. stop. And at the top of the kelp, I'm going to put in a leaf. So that's my first one. I'm going to add all these in first, and then I'll add the other pieces of my kelp forest. So over here, same thing, but I'm going to hop over the ray and start down here, hop over, and this one's going off the page. This one's bigger. And I'm going to add in another one over here. Ooh, if I go this way, look at all the different things I have to avoid. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to start up here, hop, 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 and see, because it is a kelp forest, I'm going to add one more in over here. So hopping. And this one's just going to be a little bit shorter than the other, so I'm going to end it right about there. Going back down. All right, and I'm going to add that leaf up on the top, the full leaf. Now, kelp have this flowy look, which is super cool. So we're going to add in these wavy lines and draw back wavy lines. And you can skip space as you do that. So right here, I'm going to start with my wavy line. And come back with a wavy line. I'm not going to go directly across. I'm going to start over here with a wavy line. And another wavy line. And a wavy line. And back. And these are flowing, so it looks like the water is moving, which it actually is moving, isn't it? So this creates some movement in your art, which makes it a little bit more interesting. Wavy line, going back with a wavy line. This one's behind, skip. This one's off the page. This one's going behind. Added another one over here. And now I have to add some to this. You can add as many or as little of these leaves as you wish. All right, so I'm all set with this. Now I'm going to be coloring in my manta rays, and I'm going to be using some different types of color. So colors that may not have been found in nature, but that's okay because I'm using my imagination and I'm having a good time. So here I have 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to make a color plan. So for my manta rays, I would like to make them, let's see, a nice purplish color. So we're going to go with, now before I color a color on the paper, I just test it out. It's a little dark. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my other crayons. Hi there. So I'm going to go with some vivid violet, and I'm going to color in, as I'm moving my hand so you can see, I'm going back and forth with little motion, so I'm in control of the crayon and coloring in the space. I'm not applying a lot of pressure, but I am pushing down a little bit. Now your color choices are yours, so you don't have to do what I'm doing. You can if you want, but you don't need to. You can do your own thing. You can color them in the same, or you might choose to have them 3 different colors. Sometimes I like to go around the outside edge with the color. It's neat and tidy. All right, so my first one's done. Now I get to choose the color for the next one. And I'm thinking making this one a pink. I have a cotton candy pink. So going around the outside and then filling the inside in with short little strokes. You take your time with your artwork. If you're finding that I'm going too fast, you can hit pause and go at your own speed. This is not a race. This is enjoying creating art. So you don't have to feel pressured to work at the speed of someone else. Everyone has their own speed. By the way, this color is called Cotton Candy, which I thought would be super fun. I really like to eat cotton candy, so coloring with the color is a good treat. I think it also kind of looks like bubblegum pink. And just outlining those, which is optional. Coloring this one a little bit more because it's a light color and it wasn't showing up as well as the purple over here. So I was just adding this in a little bit darker. So we have our pink, purple, and I'm gonna add one for this guy here. This one is the fun one because it's turned and facing us with a big smile. So let's see. This one is, let's try out this color. That's nice. So this one's called Scarlet Rose. So I'm going to go around the outside edge, and this I'm going to leave my belly kind of white. So I'm just making a very light line to remind myself to leave that belly. And you can certainly turn the page as you color. I find it helpful. All right, so that guy is done. And now I get to add in my kelp forest. For the kelp forest, you can choose rainbow colors, a variety of colors, whatever you wish. I'm going to start with blue. You could alternate the leaves, so some leaves one color and the other leaf another color. I'm going to do whole plants certain colors. So this whole plant is going to be sky blue. And the next plant I'm going to choose a different color for. For the next plant, I'm going to use my trusty friend. No, not this trusty friend. Hold on. My trusty friend. These are the same. I have two of the same crayons. That's so weird. Okay, so I'm going to use this minty green color. We have a cat who likes to jump on the piano and always makes these sounds. So it's kind of fun to know when she's jumping up there. We get to hear it. Usually she plays really low notes because of where she jumps. Okay, and I noticed that I missed one here, so I'm just going to keep these crayons out just in case I do this again. Sometimes I forget or don't see things, and that happens. So I'm on to this one here. I could make it a pattern. I could do every other one, these colors. That's kind of a cool idea. Oops, see, I forgot to do the bottom one. So I did the blue, the green. I'm going to do the blue again. When you use a color in a couple different places, it helps your eye move around the page. So it kind of jumps from one color to the next. Now I'm going to add in this minty color. And being careful not to color over the tail of that manta ray. All right, so that part's all done. Now for the background where we have the water, you can do a couple different things. You could use the same blue color that we've already used and go lightly over that, or you could pick some watercolors. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of contrast because I'm looking at my colors here and I want these warmer colors to stick out. So I'm going to look for a darker blue to add in for my water. This one's called Outer Space, so I'm thinking that, whoa, okay. Not that dark. That's almost black. Not really what I'm looking for. I'd like a color of blue that isn't almost black. How about navy blue? I think navy blue is the winner. So the navy blue I like because it's a bit darker than the sky blue that I used. And I'm going to very lightly go around and add in a nice covering of my navy blue. I'm using sort of the side of the tip. I'm not using exactly the tip of my crayon, and getting into the nooks and crannies in between the kelp. I made a lot of work for myself with all this kelp. Now, if you feel like this is too much, you can even, I'll show you, you can even go like this, like super light and fast. And that way your hand might not get so tired. As I color, I like to turn the page. You could go all in the same direction. I'm not too worried about that today because I'm trying to just give a little bit of blue in the background to add some contrast to make my fish pop out a little bit more. Another option is you could use more than one color in the background. So you could do different types of blues. And when I'm in the water, I notice like when the light comes down, the water appears different colors. So you could have a really light area and a very dark area. So I'm about halfway done with my work. Continue turning the page so it's easier for my hand. I'm not pressing down very hard. I'm just pressing down enough to make the color appear on the page. If you press down harder, your hand also gets tired more quickly. I see some areas that are really light, and I'm just going to add in a little bit more blue to those. Coming down the home stretch here. Now it would be a lot easier to paint this in, so using the crayon would resist the paint. So you could use watercolor and just paint in the background. Be careful not to paint over your fish, but it would be quite beautiful that way too. I'm pressing it down a little bit harder here, making it a little bit darker. And I have a tiny bit left and then I'm done. So right over here, I'm making this a little darker. You can cut another piece of paper underneath if you're worried about coloring the surface that you're on. So kind of fixing this up a little bit, doing the corner. And just adding in a little color here and there where I think it needs a touch up. And I'm all set. So I hope you had a blast today creating the manta rays with me. And I can't wait to see what you create. See you again soon.